What's up, everybody? Want to have a little live talk, a little live stream about Demaryius Thomas, 9-year veteran drafted by Josh McDaniels in Denver. Hey, Shrey, what's up? Getting traded to the Houston Texans today, right at the NFL trade deadline. And, you know, anybody who's been watching my videos for any length of time knows that I've been looking for, what's up, Chiefs fan 081? I've been looking for Demaryius Thomas to be moved out of Denver for the past 3 years. And I wish the Broncos would have listened to me, because right after winning that Super Bowl, you know, coming in and not having a quarterback situation that was solid, it was time to get DT out of Denver while he still had some value. And I think if we would have traded him when he was 27 years old, when I wanted to trade him, we'd have probably got maybe a second or third round pick for him. What's up, everybody joining the stream, man? I appreciate you guys all coming in. I just want to give you my my 2 cents on this trade. I think it was a fair trade for both teams. I mean, looking back at the 3 big wide receivers that went in free agency or before the trade deadline, you had Cooper going to the Cowboys for a number 1, which I thought was too high. Golden Tate goes to the Eagles for a 3, which, I mean, I think you can make a real good case. Golden Tate's a good over-the-top stretch the field type of receiver, and Carson Wentz is a G in the pocket if he can get somebody to throw it to. And I just don't think Nelson Aguilar gives him enough along with Jeffrey out there. So getting him for a 3, I think, is a pretty good deal. And then in Denver, you know, I really thought that Demaryius was only worth a 5th-round pick. I mean, I've stated it on here. I've typed it in my comment section that I thought we could maybe get a 5 for him. I think talent-wise, Demaryius is in the same category as Amari Cooper and Golden Tate. I think talent-wise, he can really help Houston out. I mean, Houston's gone on a 5-game winning streak. They're 5-3, and Fuller just blew out his knee last week in the last week's game. So, I mean, I think Demaryius is better than Fuller. And, you know, look, the Houston Texans got a little something going, so I think this helps them out. And to get a 4th for him when I thought he was really only worth a 5th, I think is pretty good. Plus, we swapped spots in the 7th round, so we moved up a little bit in the 7th round. So that's kind of really a wash. Basically, we've got a 4th-round pick, but more than that, we unloaded $14 million worth of cap money next year and $4 million this year. So, you know, going into next year, that money rolls over as long as we don't end up using it, which I don't think we will. So the Broncos are going to have, you know, right around $18 million to be able to spend to improve our team next year. I mean, $18 million will buy you 3 solid offensive linemen, and that's something that we really need here in Denver, especially before we go addressing the quarterback situation. We don't block people very good, and you can just put any quarterback you want back there, and it's just not going to be any magic pixie dust to make your team all of a sudden good. So we needed to stock up some draft picks, but even more, we needed to get Demaryius on down the road. I just didn't think that he was clutch enough for the kind of money that he was making. I mean, the last big clutch play I can really remember Demaryius making, and when I say clutch, I'm talking about catching the ball in the open field and taking it all the way to the house. We've seen him take it to the 5 or 6 yard line a lot of times, but he just doesn't get in. And when you don't do that, you end up 3rd and goal, and you can get an incomplete pass, you end up with 3 points instead of 7. And I just think that he doesn't measure up to, you know, the Antonio Browns, Julio Jones, Odell Beckhams, the guy in Houston. You know, he doesn't measure up to those guys for that kind of money. So good luck to Demaryius. I want to thank you for everything that you did here in Denver, because you did do some nice things. Caught that big play and against from Tebow in the playoffs against Pittsburgh to win that game. I think that was in overtime. And so, wow, I mean, he's had a good run here, 9 years. And, you know, picked by Josh McDaniels. I think when you look back at that draft, if I remember right, I think it went Darius Hayward-Bay to the Raiders, and then Dez, and then Demaryius to us. Or no, maybe we picked Demaryius and then Dez to the Cowboys. When you look at the career that all 3 of those receivers had, you know, I think Dez had the best career, but I wouldn't put Demaryius's career that much further behind Dez's. And the fact of the matter is that Demaryius is still playing and Dez is sacking groceries. So, I mean, it was a pretty good pick looking back on the whole thing, but it was just time for Demaryius to move down the road into a different team. What's up, David Armio? Hayward Bay was the year before. Okay, it's been a while since that happened. I thought that was the same year. So what happened? We picked Demaryius, and then Dez went right after that, right? Is that correct? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. I can't remember 9 years ago. I thought Hayward Bay was in that same draft, but I guess not. But Demaryius has done a good job for us here. There was lots of speculation that people were after Emmanuel Sanders. I didn't think that there was any possibility we were going to trade Emmanuel Sanders because he's the best playmaker that we have. And, I mean, look, the guy has run for a touchdown. He's thrown for a touchdown. He's caught touchdown passes. He's the best playmaker we got on offense, and I just don't think that it was smart to blow up our whole wide receiving core and come into the year with a couple rookies. But, yeah, Sev, I'm going to miss him too, man. I mean, there's some things about Demaryius that I like, but he's been, I think, a lot of lost concentration. I mean, even last year, people were on me saying, well, Demaryius doesn't suck if we don't have a quarterback that can get him the ball. Well, what I saw was a quarterback that got him the ball plenty of times that hit him right in his hands, and he dropped it on third down when it mattered most. And as a fan, watching your top paid receiver, he's making a lot more than Emmanuel Sanders. As a fan, watching that happen is really disappointing, and I really wanted him gone because I just didn't feel like he was given the value back to the Broncos for the kind of money that he was getting paid. And so I wanted him gone a couple of years ago because I thought we could have maybe got a second, maybe a third-round pick for him right after the draft. And I think, had he not had $14 million attached to him, we probably would have got a third-round pick for him this time, which is why I thought we'd only get a fifth because of the $14 million. I mean, if you look at the way things have gone in the NFL, really Will Fuller getting hurt for Houston last week it was big for the Broncos to be able to get the most value out of Demaryius because there was reports that New England was looking at him, and they certainly could have used him depending on how bad Josh Gordon's hamstrings tore up. I mean, that's kind of hard to come back for. Sometimes those things linger. Plus, he got in a little trouble, missed some meetings and stuff, so you never know what Josh Gordon could be smoking crack at any minute. So I thought maybe that, Demaryius would end up in New England, and I'm kind of glad that he didn't. And I'm glad that he did go to Houston, and it's kind of ironic that we play Houston this week, so it's good that, fans will be able to give him a good cheer coming out of the tunnel and give him a good send-off. I mean, Demaryius did a lot of nice things here in Denver, and I'm glad that he was a Denver Bronco, and I'm glad that he played here in our franchise, but I like the Denver Broncos a lot more than I like any one particular player at all times. And when it's time to go, it's time to go because it's just what's going to take for our franchise to get back on a winning trend. So I want to stop in here, see what y'all thought about the trade, whether we got good value for it. I don't really think that either team won in this trade. I think the Houston Texans got a dang good wide receiver that's still got 3 years left to be able to play pretty well in this league. And I thought the Broncos got really much needed draft picks to stock up to rebuild our team and unloaded a big, huge salary. So to me, I think it was a fair trade on both sides. And I'm happy with it. And I'm sure Houston's happy with the trade too because, I mean, look, they look pretty good. And if Deshaun Watson can keep coming on like he has in these past 5 weeks, man, they got two pretty nice little wideouts and a good defensive line. They ought to be able to make a little bit of noise in the playoffs. I'm kind of surprised. So what do I think about the season, bro? Our backs against the wall now? Yeah, I mean, they are. But I really don't think that we missed that much talent-wise from taking Demaryius out of the game and putting Cortland Sutton in the game. I mean, look, this is what you draft guys for. And when you find a jewel like Cortland Sutton, and let's be honest, the dude's a jewel. When you find a guy like that, you got to get him on the field as soon as possible. So to me, yeah, our back's up against the wall, and it hurts losing a veteran wide receiver that's battle-tested like Demaryius. But, look, the season, we're not built to win right now. I mean, we're just not. We're not built to win right now. We don't have the coaching staff we need. We don't have the right quarterback yet. We still need some help along our offensive line. And the reality is that we still need somebody to really emerge at linebacker, and let's hope that that's A.J. Johnson in the future. And we do need an elite tight end, Shrey, you're right. And, it's unfortunate that Jake Butt got hurt this year because it looked like he might be a little something. But I saw somebody just ask, the comments are coming through pretty fast, that what do I think about drafting a quarterback? You know, I don't really want to get too deep into that yet because we got a lot of time going to the rest of the year on what we should do at quarterback. But my gut feeling is right now Case Keenum's going to be the quarterback for the Denver Broncos in 2019, and he should be. Because we signed him to a 2-year deal. We paid him 25 of the 36. We're not built to win right now anyway. We got problems at left tackle. We got a hurt right tackle. We've got a couple of guys hurt on the interior of our line. I mean, we got to fix some things. We got some good young players and some good talent. But if you can't block for a rookie quarterback, I mean, who are we going to go get? I mean, the real draft of quarterbacks is probably going to be in 2020 with Tua. You got Michigan's quarterback. You got Auburn's quarterback who's pretty good. You're going to have Duke's quarterback who's pretty decent. You're going to have Justin Herbert is going to be probably into 2020. So coming up in this next year, I mean, you maybe only have Will Grier, the kid at OU, a couple of other guys, and I just don't think that this is the big deal. Do I think the Broncos will re-sign Shane Ray? I don't think we'll re-sign Shane Ray. He's making too much money. He doesn't get on the field enough. He's injury prone. We got Shaq Barrett. I thought there was a chance the Broncos might trade Shaq Barrett in this trade deadline. Not that I'd want to see him go because I think he's a really good piece of our defense, but we are kind of fortunate to have a couple good guys that are outside pass rushers, the same position Shaq Barrett plays. Although it's nice to have some rotation in there, but I think we could have got a first or second rounder for Shaq Barrett. I really do. And so I would kind of been okay if we would have traded him, but I think the fact that we have Shaq Barrett, there's no way that Shane Ray is going to be a Denver Bronco next year. He hasn't done enough since he's been here. He's been a first-round disappointment. Bowles has been a first-round disappointment. Tebow was a first-round disappointment. Paxton Lynch is a first-round disappointment. And here's the reality. When you miss on first-round draft picks, it's time to pay the meter, and the Broncos have to pay that right now. We have to pay those debts because we've made bad decisions. Like if you look at maybe the Giants, they're in a similar position as the Broncos. They've missed on some first-round draft picks, and people want to blame everything on Eli Manning, and I think Eli's done, but he's not terrible. He can still play in the NFL. The fact of the matter is they can't block for him. Their offensive line's terrible. You know, we drafted a rookie offensive line. This guy can barely grow hair on his face, and you're going to ask him to come in there and block, you know, some of these big linemen that are in the NFL. These guys are grown-ass, mean, street thug men, and these kids are just college kids. So it takes a little while to mature on the offensive line, but I am disappointed with Bowles because we all know that he's a hell of an athlete. And when you hear Mark Schlereth clown on him, I mean, he clowns on him, saying, look, it's all technique. It's a shame. The guy's got great size. He's got great toughness, got great athletic ability, and it's all technique. So, you know, hey, sure, you know, John Elway doesn't know how to draft players. I mean, I disagree with that. I disagree with everybody who says that. Look, all GMs miss in the first round, and they did a study last year of all of the players that Elway has drafted under his tenure here, and he ranked fifth among all GMs. And Bill Belichick was down at like 26th, and how they measured that was on players that were on active rosters or still starting in the NFL. So has he missed on some quarterbacks? Yes, but lots of GMs have missed on quarterbacks. The Chiefs ain't had a damn quarterback since Len Dawson. So I don't want to hear that Elway is a bad manager of picking draft picks. Have we missed on some? We definitely have, and all teams go through that. But I think for the most part, if you look at the players that John Elway has drafted, there's a lot of players still playing in the NFL, and more specifically on our team. So I don't think that Elway's the problem. I really don't. I mean, ultimately, he's the one that says, yes, we'll take that guy. But there's a lot of people involved in that decision. And I think that, you know, you're just going to miss sometimes, and sometimes it's bad luck. I think we reached a couple of times. We gambled trying to, you know, get a quarterback on the cheap in the bottom of the first round. And I think if you're looking for a franchise quarterback, you just can't do things like that. You got to go all in, and you got to go get the guy you need to get. So, you're excited to see Sutton take over, Bugs? Yeah, I am too, man. I think he's going to have a really nice career here. He can do some things that even Demaryius can't do. I think he's a little bit faster, and I think he's got better hands, to tell you the truth. And I think he can high point the ball a little bit better. I mean, one thing you can say about Demaryius, he's pretty... Outside of his rookie year, I mean, he got hurt that first year. I think he even got hurt his second year, had like a little hip injury. But Demaryius has been pretty durable receiver here. He's been in a lot of games, and you can pretty much count on him going on into Sundays, and that's a lot to say about a starter that's been in your franchise for 9 years. So, look, I mean, I'm glad Demaryius is gone, but I'm thankful that he was here. I'm thankful for the Super Bowls that he helped get us to, and especially the one Lombardi that he helped us win. But yeah, Chiefs fans salty because I don't know. I mean, they're riding high right now. I'm surprised the Chiefs actually didn't make a move for a safety. I thought they might try to go after Landon Collins, try to shore up their safety position, because who knows what's going to happen with Barry if he's ever going to get back on the field. But man, I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah, I think the Broncos got some work to do. I don't think we're going to be back in the playoff mix for probably 2 or 3 years, and it may even be longer than that. I hope it's not, but, it's going to take a while to develop a quarterback, and like I said, I expect Case to be the quarterback in Denver next year. I'm not happy about it. I'm not thrilled about it, but when you look at what Case has done so far this year, I think I'm more confident with him back there than I am just any old rookie. Because name a rookie. I mean, name any of them. You want Locke, you want Herbert, you want the kid from Duke, you want, Will Greer. Which one you want? Because no matter which one we bring in here, it doesn't mean that, oh, well, we got the guy. We got a new franchise quarterback. Franchise quarterbacks are hard to find. They're hard to find. They're diamonds in the rough. And it's usually the ones that you think that are no-brainers are the ones that turn out to be busts. So I don't know, man. I don't like Locke. He stands in the pocket too much. I do like Daniel Jones at Duke, David Armio. I mean, I really do. I think he's a smart kid. The quarterback coach he's got down there was, with Peyton Manning. And you got to love a kid that's got a good head on his shoulders. But, I don't think he's coming out until next year anyway. So, I think next year adding Tua to the draft along with Jones, along with Herbert, that, where the Broncos would be picking, probably somewhere in those middle rounds, we ought to be able to get a pretty good player there. And then it all just comes down to development and what kind of players that we can surround him with. So, I don't know. Anybody sad out there that Demaryius is gone or think we made a bad deal? I mean, I guess everybody can be sad because he was a Bronco, but anybody think we got a bad deal out of this? Because I don't see how we did get a bad deal. $18 million is a lot of money. And we were already $5 million under the salary cap going right now. So we save another $4 million, bringing it to $9 million this year, and he's $14 million next year. I mean, that can really help you make a lot of moves. And the fact of the matter is that we got 2 good rookie running backs and 2 good rookie wide receivers, and all of those guys are on rookie contracts for 5 years. So we've got a chance to do a rebuild here before we're going to have to really start paying some of these guys that look like they might be superstars on our team. So, we've got to draft a quarterback in the next couple years here, but I still expect Case to be the Broncos quarterback in 2019, unless he just absolutely falls apart. And I don't know how you can really get a lot worse than what he's played for $18 million. But I think he's going to be here and going to be the quarterback, and it's especially going to matter that we've got some senior leadership in that huddle now that we're going to have a couple young guys in the backfield and a couple young guys at wide receiver too. So I want to give a shout out to Demaryius Thomas, man, his family, and all his teammates. He was a good teammate here. You listen to teammates of the Denver Broncos, they don't have anything but good things to say about Demaryius Thomas, and said he was a great teammate and a hard worker and just a pro all the time. And, he'll for always be a part of the Denver Broncos family, but the Chiefs are a fun team to watch, but they don't win Super Bowls. Trade Von Miller, you out your mind, Argo. We can trade in Von Miller. Von Miller does too many good things in our community. He's the face of the Denver Broncos. He ain't going nowhere, believe me. He's going to die a Denver Bronco. The only way he's getting traded is if he's at the end of his career and he wants huge, stupid money, and we just can't afford it, and he does the Brett Favre type of deal, but he ain't going nowhere. Look at all these Chiefs fans in here, all you little trolls in here on the OG Bronc Nuts' page. And hey, and I know you guys are feeling good about yourself, but mark my words, a couple things happened today. It's going to ensure that you didn't win a Super Bowl. The Rams signed now one of the best defensive ends in the NFL to go along with the 2 big guys that they got, Sue and Donaldson on the inside. you're not going to be able to run the football against them, and they are going to be able to run the football against you. So enjoy the fun that you're having, Chiefs. But like I said in my last video, show me, because all you guys are is a bunch of hot air talk, and we've seen this before. So it's time for you guys to shut up and put up and show us that you can win this Lombardi trophy. And I'm betting that you're not going to be able to, because your defense is garbage. It's garbage, and the Chiefs didn't do anything in free agency or in this trade deadline to help themselves get any better. Mahomes is certainly a good player, and he's going to be a force for a while. But if you're not able to sign Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, and Kelsey when their next contracts come around, and I don't believe you're going to be able to, because all three of those guys are at the top of their game, at the top of their position, and they're all going to want big money to play those positions, and the Chiefs aren't going to be able to afford it. So we'll see. You know, hey, your shot is right now, so let's see you do it. Like you said, let's see you do it. How long will Vance last if we lose to the Texans, Jamie? You know, I don't know. I'm really thinking Vance gets fired if we lose to the Texans, just because we got a bye week right after that. And for me, I'd rather just cut him loose and get him out of our locker room, just make Musgrave the interim head coach, and then let's see what materializes with other coaching moves at the end of the year, college coaches. I don't know exactly who I want. You know, you got to remember, there's just not a lot of people out there you can go, oh, hey, let's just take this guy, or this great coach is out there. I mean, great coaches are already coaching NFL football teams somewhere. So I think he's going to get fired one way or another, Merlot, just like you do. I think he really does, but I don't know if it's after this game or not. If I was the GM, I would fire him after the Houston game if we lose the Houston game. Rams look horrible against Green Bay. Yeah, I mean, they did. You're not going to look. Wins are hard to get in the NFL. I don't care who you're playing. You look even last night how bad Buffalo is on their third-string quarterback, and they had a chance to beat New England. So, you know, you really can't say, well, this team's horrible, and they looked horrible against that team. I mean, you know, look, we're playing Houston this week, coming in on a 5-game winning streak, and they started off 0-3. I think the Houston Texans have a better chance to beat us than the Kansas City Chiefs, because I don't think we match up with them very well. And I think we match up with the Chiefs better than we do the Texans. So, you know, it's hard to win in the NFL. It's hard to get wins. But anyway, I just want to come on here and say what was up with my thoughts on Demaryius, and see what you guys thought about it. I want to wish him well. Thanks for everything you've done in Denver, DT. And, man, we'll miss you on one hand. But on the other hand, it's time for us to turn the page and just go a different direction, because the Broncos need to rebuild. Falcons didn't get anything in trade. Yeah, I was kind of surprised about that too. The Texans are a better team than the Chiefs. I'm not so sure that you're not right. I've been thinking about that today. I mean, I think J.J. Watt's going to absolutely wreck this game. He's going to expose our offensive line even worse than it's been exposed the first 8 games here. And I think we're in for a long day against the Houston Texans. And now that they do have DT and they do have 2 legit wideout threats, I mean, you see Bradley Roby being able to cover Demaryius Thomas, because that's what it's going to come down to. And I just don't see that happening. So I think the Broncos, you know, are going to do everything they can this year to win a couple more games than they did last year. And beyond that, I really don't know how much better that we're going to be able to do. We're not love my videos and my loyalty, David. Yeah, well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I've been a Bronco fan for a long time, and I'm never going to change. I mean, it's just a team I grew up with, team I like, and I bleed blue and orange, and I follow everything that this team does, every trade, every move, every injury, everything about what's going on in Denver. And, you know, I'm no different from a lot of other fans. I mean, a lot of other fans, they like their teams just as much as I like mine. Watt and Clowney going to wreck us. Vance will be fired once come the bye week. Altitude sickness types in. I'm not so sure you're not right. I think they are going to wreck this game, because I don't think that we're going to be able to block either of those 2 guys. And if we can't do that, we're definitely not going to be able to run the football as effective as we has. And now, you know, we already couldn't block people and keep pressure off of Case. And Case has no mobility in the pocket. He's just not that good of an athlete. So I really do. I think the Texans are a hot team, and I agree with a lot of you out there. I'm not so sure all the way around, offense, defense, a complete team, that they're not better than the Chiefs. I know the record says they're not, and the Chiefs sure can score a lot of points, but I think that's going to come back to bite them as the season drags on. But Mahomes over Manning every day. Dude, you need to go play in traffic if that's what you really think. I mean, you're talking about a guy who played gazillions of years in the NFL and owns a whole bunch of records, to a dude who hasn't even taken one good shot yet. Let me see Mahomes come in and play with a sore knee or a rolled up ankle or coming off of a concussion, because he ain't had to do none of that shit yet. And you guys think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. That's why Chiefs fans are a joke. You're a joke because you think that this guy is never going to lose another game in your franchise history. It's terrible that you think that. And you're setting yourself up for a big letdown. We get it. We understand. Mahomes is a boss. He's good. Wait till he has to come in with a sore ankle or a sore knee and play in these games, like a lot of tough quarterbacks have had to do. Then we're going to find out what Patrick Mahomes is built like. Trying to compare him to Manning, you should be ashamed of yourself. Put some respect on these legends of the game's names that have played this long before him. Little Chiefs trolls. Now you know why I hate you, because you're delusional trolls is all you are. Trolls. And I know you guys are all high on him, and you should be, because he's a good little player. My question is, if you took Mahomes and you put him on the Raiders, how many games do the Raiders won this year with Mahomes as the quarterback instead of Derek Carr? I mean, the key to the whole deal is Kareem Hunt. And if you dumb Chiefs fans don't understand that, then you don't know football. Because if you can play action, which you can because of Kareem Hunt's running ability, that makes Patrick Mahomes much better than he really is that he could be with somebody else. I'm not trying to say the kid's not a good quarterback, because he's a special talent. But what you have going on there with your outside threats, a hell of a running back and a solid tight end, and a defense that bends but doesn't really break, is the reason that Patrick Mahomes is having the success that he is. I'm not trying to take nothing away from the kid. He's good. But he ain't going to be compared to Peyton Manning, at least not on my channel. I can promise you that. Anyway, this is Yogi Bronknuts, 719 West, and I'm glad you guys came. And hey, Gambler, what's up? I didn't catch what your message said, but I seen you show up in there. I appreciate you guys showing up in the stream. I love doing live streams. I love interacting not only with Bronco fans, but all football fans, just wanting to know how you guys see things going in the NFL, moves that we've made. I'm interested in other fans' opinions on the trades we've made or teams that, guys that we cut, to just see what you think about what we've done. And I'm going to offer up my 2 cents on what other teams do as well. But like I said, when you look at the 3 big wide receivers that got traded this year, I think the Eagles made a good deal. Not a good deal. I think the Eagles and Lions, they both got a fair deal on both sides. I think Houston and the Broncos got a fair deal on both sides. And I think the Raiders won their deal. And I wish they didn't. I wish the Cowboys won the deal, but the Raiders won the deal in my opinion. So anyway, that's all I got to say. Chargers are the bottom feeders. Yeah, well, you keep on thinking that because the Chargers are better than you think they are. And don't be surprised to see the Chargers slip into a playoff spot in the wild card at the end of the year. And I'm going to tell you something. If that team gets hot, they got a running back that can beat you, because if Phillip Lindsay can get the kind of yardage that we were getting on you, I guarantee you Melvin Gordon can gash you way worse than Phillip Lindsay has, because he's a better running back. This is the OG Bronknuts, 719 West. Thanks for showing up in my stream, and I'll see you tomorrow, suckers.